Welcome back to Respiration. We finished last time on the Krebs cycle, and here on the diagram on the left we have a link reaction repeating itself at the top. The link reaction is where we basically had pyruvate, also known as pyruvic acid, forming acetyl-CoA, which is a coenzyme consisting of two carbon molecules here. So these two carbon molecules combine with a 4-carbon compound here to form a 6-carbon compound known as citric acid here on the right. What happens to this is it's decarboxylated, which means it loses a CO2 molecule through the process of oxidation. So it's otherwise known as oxidative decarboxylation. Now, because CO2 has been released and oxidation has happened, this allows NAD to be reduced to NADH, or reduced NAD. This is useful in the electron transport chain. In fact, every NADH molecule made here will be responsible for making 3 ATP molecules, and NAD reduces 3 times in the Krebs cycle, 1, 2, 3, and FAD also manages to be reduced in this cycle as well to FADH, also known as reduced FAD. This is also useful in the next stage, which is the electron transport chain, but this time this molecule will only make 2 ATP molecules. This cycle goes around twice for each pyruvate. So this relates to the fact that each glucose makes 2 pyruvate. So for every glucose, this cycle goes around twice. You'll need to know that for when we are adding up the ATP molecules soon. So I've done the electron transport chain a number of times, and the fact that the NADH molecules will be useful as well as the FADH. So these molecules that were reduced in the previous Krebs cycle are now oxidized back to NAD and FAD respectively. So what happens here is the hydrogen molecule, otherwise known as a proton, is released, and it's going to move through the proton pumps here. So the hydrogen molecules build up in the intermembrane space. They build up in high concentration, and we'll come back to those in a second. Where they get this energy from to go through the proton pumps is from electrons made in the previous stage. These electrons bounce from the electron carrier number 1 to electron carrier number 2 to electron carrier number 3, and the final electron acceptor is oxygen here. That also combines with 2 hydrogens to make water. Now, if we go back to the hydrogen molecules or protons in the intermembrane space that build up here, they actually move by chemiosmosis through this enzyme at the end called ATP synthase, and that provides the energy to convert ADP to ATP. And the numbers, we'll have a look at those next. So glycolysis, if you remember, made 2 ATP directly through substrate level phosphorylation. That just means that the phosphates came from an organic molecule rather than an inorganic molecule. 2 NADH are made, and they each made 3 ATPs by oxidative phosphorylation, which means they were made in the electron transport chain. The link reaction made 2 NADHs. They are each worth 3, but remember the cycle moves around twice for each glucose molecule. That's why we have 6 here, and it's the reason we had 8 before rather than 4. The Krebs cycle, this made 2 ATP directly. It made 6 NADHs if we're counting the 2 cycles again, and it made 2 FADHs when the cycle moved around twice. That resulted in 24. So if we add these 3 numbers up to add up all the ATPs made, either directly as ATP molecules or indirectly as NADH or FADH, altogether we have around 38 ATP molecules. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if it was helpful and what else you would like to know about this. See you next time.